Let's go. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is the talk that is probably going to be more complicated, and you're going to have to keep a lot of information in your head in order to figure out the answers. That's how it's going to work. Good morning.
Good morning.
The theme is, for my talks, even though I didn't really think about it until we started, is to look at what can Judaism, what can the Torah contribute to the world. How can, if we adopt the Torah's way of thinking, how will we be able to shape society better? So what I want to do now is I'm going to give you, and I'm glad some of you can write, so that way you can keep all the information in your mind. I'm going to give you probably 6, maybe 7, it depends, we can keep going, I can make it 12, 15 different cases, and you're going to have to solve what should happen in each case. Okay? So let's start with the first case. There is a young man meets a beautiful young woman. Always that's how it starts, and then disaster strikes, right? They are happy together, and it's his birthday, so she goes to the store and she buys him a brand new iPhone. Brand new iPhone. She brings it to him, she says, honey, I bought this for you, happy birthday. And he loves it. The first thing he does is he takes a selfie with both of them together. Everything hunky-dory, as we say in Nebraska. 2 weeks later, she calls. She says, listen, do you remember you were away for the weekend? You went to visit your parents? So I went with your friend. We went to a movie. So I decided to leave you and go with your friend. So he gets so mad, he takes the iPhone, he throws it out the window. Okay? As he's throwing, the iPhone is coming down, there were some people downstairs playing baseball. There's a guy with a baseball bat. And as he's standing, here comes the phone like this, and he smashes it, and it flies and breaks to little pieces. The guy sees what happened to his phone, he runs down and he says, hey, you broke my phone. You have to pay for the phone. That's case number 1. Case number 2. The girlfriend calls him back. She says, I'm so sorry, it was a misunderstanding. The guy left me, I want to be back with you. I bought you a brand new iPhone. And the fair, they take it out, brand new selfie of the couple together. And it lasts for 2 days. Because the guy came back. So she calls him and says, listen, I decided to go back to your friend. And now he's furious. He takes the phone, he wants to throw it out the window, but what happened the last time he threw it?
Broke.
Somebody smashed it. So he goes downstairs, puts the iPhone on the floor, picks up a rock, and he's ready to drop the rock. And as he drops the rock, a guy comes with a hammer and smashes the phone before the rock hits the phone. And the guy says to him, hey, you broke my phone. He says, no, I didn't. Come on in.
Good morning.
I'm really going to take my jacket off. And then I have to do a lot more dancing. So that's the second case. The first case is the guy throws the phone out the window and somebody hits it with a bat. The second, he drops a rock on the phone, but before the rock hits the phone, somebody smashes it and breaks it. Okay? Case number 3. A guy wants to buy groceries. He wants to buy milk, he wants to buy bread, different things, and he goes to a store to buy the stuff. And it's a private store, it's not like a big market. And as he's shopping around, looking around, the guy says to him, listen, you're Jewish, right? And he says, yes. He says, so am I, I'm also Jewish. Okay, so what do you want? He says, I make my own kosher wine. It's illegal. I'm not allowed to sell it. But since you're Jewish and I'm Jewish, if you're interested, I have a jug. And he pulls the jug out from behind the counter, and he puts it on the counter. And then the guy gets a phone call, he picks up the phone and turns around, and he knocks the jug to the floor. It breaks, all the wine spills. He feels terrible. I am so sorry. He helps the guy clean up. And as soon as they clean up all the pieces in the wine, the police come in. And they say, we heard that you sell illegal wine. So he says, look. They look in the store and they find nothing. So after they leave, and they tell him, you know, if we would have caught you with wine, you would have paid $1,000. Okay, the police leave, and now the client, the customer wants to go home. So he turns around and says goodbye, and the guy says, wait a second. You owe me $200 because you broke the jug of wine. So the guy says to him, wait a second. If you want $200 from me, you owe me $800 because I saved you $800. That's third case. Okay? You're going to have to figure out in each case who is right. Okay, so keep that in mind. Number 4. On Shabbat, as you know, we are not allowed to fish because we're not allowed to take a life. So there's a Jewish guy, goes to the water, right, to the river, let's say, and he wants to fish. He knows it's Shabbat. He knows that he's not allowed to fish, but he says, I don't care. And he has a fishing net. He goes to the water, he throws the fishing net, pulls it in, and in the net there are fish and a baby. A live baby. Did he break Shabbat? Don't answer that yet. Did he break Shabbat? Case number 5. There's a rabbi next to him with a woman crying, oh my God, save my baby, save my baby. Right? And the rabbi takes in the fishing net, and he throws in. And he pulls, it's full of fish, no babies. Did he break Shabbat? Okay? You're going to have to figure out what does it have to do with the other three. They all are somehow connected. You have to keep all of them in your mind. Next case. Ready? There is a young man who only eats kosher. A very, very nice Jewish boy. Always ate kosher. He comes to his friend, his Jewish friend, and he says, listen, I want to eat pork. His friend says to him, are you crazy? All your life you never ate pork. Why are you going to do it? He said, I decided I'm going to go to the restaurant. It's called House of Pork. I'm going to order the pork special. I want the biggest pork, whatever it is. And that's what I'm eating. So his friend doesn't want to argue with him, goes to the restaurant, speaks to the owner, and he says, listen, we have here a young man that is obsessed with eating pork, but he eats only kosher meat. I am going to give you kosher lamb. And he's going to order whatever he orders, you give him this kosher lamb, put it on a plate, and you give it to him. What is he going to think that he's eating? Pork. What is he really eating? Kosher lamb. So the guy sits down at the House of Pork, he gets the menu, he says, give me the pork special. They bring him the kosher lamb, and he says, I'm eating pork. Did he break Jewish law? Question. Next case. This one is a little tricky to understand, but it's very, very important. It's a very interesting case. There is a ability, the Torah says that a person has an ability to take an oath. It's called the neder. Some people do it in order to strengthen their relationship to Hashem, to God. So they take an oath. They make a promise that they cannot break. But there's an interesting rule that we can argue about why later on. I don't want to do it right now. But the rule is this. If a man and a woman are married, and the woman makes such a vow, the husband can cancel the vow. And he doesn't have to tell her that he canceled it. He just can say, no. And if she doesn't know it, she thinks there's a vow. But in reality, there's no vow. So there was a case of a woman who decided that she is not going to drink wine anymore. She took a vow. She is not going to drink wine. Her husband heard her in the kitchen. She said, this is the last bottle of wine I'm going to drink. I'm not drinking anymore. I make a vow. And he was behind her and he says, no vow. Because he wants to make it easier for her. Comes Friday night, Shabbat dinner. She pours a cup of wine and she says, I made a vow not to drink wine, but I am going to drink the wine. And she drinks the wine. Did she break Jewish law? Or not? Okay. Now we come to the last case. And the last case is a story that we see in the Bible. You know the story of Joseph and his brothers? But Joseph was the youngest before Binyamin. Once Binyamin, but he was the youngest of the family before his younger brother was born. And his father, for whatever reason, liked him more than the other kids. It's not so simple to say that, but let's make it as such. And he was his favorite. And the other brothers didn't like it. And one day when the brothers were with the sheep in the field, Jacob sends Yosef to his brother, go see how they're doing. And when he goes to see them, they see him coming. And what do they decide to do? To kill him. Then somebody says, no, don't kill him, just throw him in a hole. Right? And then they throw him in the hole. They say, let's not throw him in the hole, let's sell him to be a slave. And they sell him to be a slave, and he becomes a slave in Egypt. He has a whole story in Egypt, and he becomes a slave to a very powerful man, and his wife always wants to sleep with Joseph, and Joseph won't do it, and then one day she rips his clothes, and he runs in the street naked, and people look thinking she says he raped her, so they put him in prison. Eventually he gets out of prison, and he becomes the most powerful man in Egypt after the king, Pharaoh. Then his brothers come to Egypt, and he sees them, and he has all sorts of tests for them. But in the end, when he introduces himself to them as your brother, I'm your brother Joseph, they say to him, we are so sorry for what we've done. And he says to them, you thought to do me evil, but God thought otherwise. Are they guilty of anything? Those are the cases that we have to look at. Figure out what do they have in common, and what would be the rule if you were all rabbinic judges. I'm going to make all of you rabbinic judges. We're all going to grow a beard in about 3 seconds. Up down to here, and you are going to be rabbis. Morning rabbi. Okay. So let's take our first case. What was our first case? The baseball with the phone. Okay. So who should pay for the phone? The person who threw the phone out the window? Or the person that smashed it with a baseball bat?
No one.
What?
No one.
No one?
No one. Why?
No, he threw out his own phone.
What?
It was his own phone.
Yeah.
Out of the window, and someone just smashed it by accident. So
It's not by
it was
accident.
mistake.
Wait a second. So you say by accident you don't have to pay. Do you have a car?
Yeah.
So if I smash into
But
your car
that's another
and I
thing.
get out and I
If you have an
say, by
insurance, but
accident,
there is another law, because if you have an insurance, that
Then
surely
what?
there's another kind of case, but.
no, but you're saying if it's an accident, you're not responsible. So if I smash into your car by accident, I don't have to pay you, because it's an accident. Certainly you won't see
But
that.
with the car and the phone is not the same.
Why not? Why not? Change the story. Right? She buys him a brand new car. You know, you just change the story.
The smash.
So the guy that hits it has to pay. What is he going to say? What is he going to say?
It would have been broken anyway.
It would have been broken anyway.
Okay, which floor was the carpet?
No carpet, no grass. It was going to break. He's on the 5th floor.
But the phone could hit the other man as well, so it's not okay.
We don't know the outcome.
We don't know the outcome. Okay. Let's keep that case. I just want to show of hands. How many people think that the person who hit the phone with a baseball bat has to pay? Okay. Okay. Good. Some of you have the right answer, some of you don't. Now let's look at the second case. What's the second case? The rock. He drops the rock, but before the rock touches, someone comes and smashes. And he said, hey, you broke my phone. You have to pay for this. So, A, is it different than the first case or not?
It is different.
Adam.
It is different.
No,
Adam.
no different.
Because
No, no, there is
Elengedtem
an
azt, hogy
intention to destroy.
vagy még a kezében volt.
Wait a second, but the guy who's hitting a bat
No,
is...
I'm thinking that the one who threw the window, he didn't really have intention to destroy.
No? When you throw something out the window, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to develop wings? Fly?
Who knows what will eventually happen?
Oh, who knows? Laws of physics. There's certain things that I know. For example, if I take a baby out the window, but I drop the baby.
No, don't say it.
Right, because we know what's going to happen.
Yes.
So if we drop a phone, the same process of physics, right? Gabi, you know, right? Physics. If you drop a phone out of the 5th story window, what will happen to that phone? Is it going to glide like this?
But it's surely the responsibility of the person who decides to destroy it.
But who is destroying it?
The one who decides, okay, one with a hammer because he's doing it on purpose.
But the guy with the bat is also. So you would say that the guy in the bat has to pay, and the guy with the hammer has to pay.
The guy with the hammer has to pay.
But the guy with the ball, with a stick that had it, like the first case,
It was different because the other one decided to throw the phone.
but he drops a boulder on it. The boulder is not rubber. He's going to smash the phone. It's a big one, like this.
But he
It
didn't,
took 4 people to lift it.
he didn't drop it yet.
He dropped it. It's in the air.
He started
It's
He started to drop it, and
then
that
I
was
was
the
the
hammer after.
Okay. Yes.
Why is he not afraid with the hammer so his hand will break by the...
That's not a good question that we're going to get to. He's very quick. He has the superpower of slowing time. He can freeze, smash, get out, and let the rock fall.
Okay.
Okay. The third case of our friend who was offered to buy illegal wine. Does he have to pay for the wine or not?
Yes. Why not?
Why not? Because whatever damage he caused benefited the owner.
Yes, but this is something like he would expect God to do. Whatever he does for us seemingly bad turned out to be good. But
in this case, it did turn out to be good.
But eventually everything can turn out to be good, which is bad.
No, but within the framework of the story.
Yes, but
So fine, so he has to
you can
pay.
expand everything.
Basically saved him to pay for the penalty.
Yeah.
So
So wait, so you say he has to pay $200?
Yes.
Does he? Can he get the $800?
yes.
I don't think he can collect the money.
Why not?
He can say that
You're the Dayan, you're the judge on the Beis Din.
I will not oblige the person to pay the $800.
Why not?
Because why?
I
It's
helped
not.
you. I helped you.
No, you didn't.
You didn't ask.
You didn't
for it.
have. You didn't have.
Wait.
It turned out that eventually.
Yes, so I
what?
benefited you.
No. It was not you who benefited me. It was the occurrence which you caused which benefited. It was not
So
you.
it's two different stories.
Two different stories.
Yes,
But
first
if it
the
didn't
pay the
happen-
wine, and the second we can speak about the other.
No, I don't
But
think
if the
we
first
need to
one
speak about that.
forces the second one to pay the $200, then he has to pay as well.
The $800.
$800.
See, the judge says here, no, if you want the 200, you have to pay the 800.
Why?
If you won't have any money, then he don't have to pay.
Why?
Because it's like the first man saved the second from a very bad situation by accident, but saved him. And if after that you say, okay, you have to pay me after this good thing that it turned out that he saved the second man from the police. After that, if this man wants the money from him, still after that he don't have to pay $1,000, then okay, let's pay to this man $800 as well.
But there is no. I don't understand the second part of this. No, so what's there?
Okay.
It turns out that eventually he would have to pay, but now he don't have to pay.
So okay.
What?
So wait.
Can
I'll tell you
collect
where the
money for
story.
this?
I will tell you where the story came from.
May I mention
Please.
one more thing? Just,
Sure.
If the wine hasn't been broken, but both of them are in the same store, and the police comes and
$1,000.
asking him that
Yeah.
yes, you have to pay $1,000, and he says, but basically he was with the other man,
Right.
maybe we'll have to pay.
No,
That's
he
not
wouldn't.
the
That's
case.
his. Unless he would lie, he would say that's his.
You think so?
That happened to him. There was a story.
Then just another.
There's a story, it's a different story, but there was a man who decided to rob a bank. And he had to decide how he's going to get away. So he decided to dress like a policeman. And he got the uniform and the gun and the whole thing, and he walked in and the guard let him through because he thought he was a policeman. And he comes to the window and he pulls the gun and says, give me all your money. And the woman doesn't want to argue with him, so she gave him all the money. And as soon as he turns around, he feels a gun in his back. And he raises his hand. It was an undercover policeman with just regular clothes. And he puts the handcuff on him, and now they're handcuffed together. And they go outside. And the undercover cop's neighbor walks up. And what does he see? His neighbor, right, handcuffed to a policeman. And he says, no, I'm the policeman, he's the criminal. And the other guy says, no, he's the criminal, I'm the real policeman. Right? That's the question. So how do we decide who is the policeman, who is the criminal? It's very easy. Whoever has the keys to the handcuffs. Right? Whoever has the keys to the handcuffs is the real policeman. It's a message for us. I'll tell you maybe the message later. Okay, so the case, the actual question of number 3 was a case that happened in Europe, probably in Poland, about 150 years ago or so. And we have 2 rabbinical decisions. The first decision was that the person does not have to pay the $200. He does not have to pay for the wine. Why? Because there actually is no damage in the end. Although there was damage at point A, but at point B there's no damage.
Because the wine is
Correct, he didn't get a fine.
exists.
So a rabbi ruled that he doesn't have to pay. So all of you who said he doesn't have to pay are correct. Second, there's another opinion, because this rabbi wrote his opinion and sent it to his friend to say, look, what do you think of my opinion? He shouldn't have asked. His friend answered him, "You are completely wrong. You don't understand anything. This was a big mistake," and essentially gave the ruling that you're saying. What's the ruling that you're saying? The ruling is this. Let's say the guy in the store, he has $100,000 worth of product, right? So his worth, at the time that he walked into the customer walked into the store, was $100,000 and $200, right? He had a $200 jug. So $100,000 and $200. Now the jug is broken. How much is he worth? Minus 200, right? So now he's only worth 100,000. Was there damage to him? Damage to him. Pay the man. That's it. That is, the guy's net worth was 100,200. You caused the damage of 200. You pay. Does it matter whether you did it accidentally or not? The answer is no. No. So then take this answer and go to the first two cases that I gave you. So if the guy threw the phone, does the guy that hit it with a baseball bat has to pay for the phone? Is he hitting the phone intentionally or accidentally? It doesn't matter. He did it. Should he pay? What?
According to this, yes.
So the answer is no.
Why?
No. Why? Why shouldn't he have to pay? Because
at the time of he threw away, it was not in his possession anymore.
it's correct. The minute that phone left the hand of our poor boyfriend, he already lost the worth of this phone. So he damaged it. So therefore, when the guy hit it, what did he hit?
Hefker.
No, it's not a Hefker phone, but it's a broken phone. We consider it as soon as it left the hand out the window as a broken phone. If the guy said to him, "You broke my phone," he said, "I broke a broken phone." Correct. This is your phone, but it's broken, and that's it. So he doesn't have to pay.
A broken phone has also value.
Correct. He doesn't get, the guy that smashed it doesn't get to keep it. He says, "Where's my phone?" It's over there in the pond. In the water.
So,
Now, yes.
why is this different from somebody said the first round? Somebody said that it would have broken anyway. So why is this different?
No, that's the point.
Yeah.
But now let's take the second case
Okay.
of dropping a rock on the phone. Is it the same as smashing it with with a stick?
No, because the owner decides to destroy the phone first. Like, okay, not the same, but like, basically there is another person who just comes and
Out of nowhere,
out
right.
of nowhere and smash it on purpose,
Right.
right for him to basically be smashing up the phone. This case belongs to the other person.
Okay, so who has to pay for this phone? The guy who's dropped the rock
Who cuts
or the hammer? The hammer.
Um,
Okay. So do you agree that the guy with the hammer has to pay? No. Good. Tell me why not.
Because
I love when people give the wrong answer. I want to know why.
the wrong
Okay. Yeah, why? Why do you think that?
No, because the guy who actually, he's not touching the stone already. It's on the air.
Right.
So basically, it's exactly the same as if he would, throw it away, and it's not in his hand. It's not in his possession.
No, but the
So this case is in the Gemara, not with an iPhone, right? Because the Gemara didn't have iPhones that they told us about. But the Gemara brings a case of a person throwing a kli, a vessel, out the window, and somebody hits it with a stick. And then Tosfos says the rule would be different if he would shoot an arrow, try to smash the vessel, or throw a rock. It's a machloket whether we are going to decide the rule according to Tosfot or not. So you're actually, there are those who agree with you, and there are those who agree with you. But la halacha, we would say that there is a difference if the person drops the rock, because the phone is perfectly fine. It's not damaged yet. The damage hasn't occurred, whereas if he throws it, that damage is already now in process. It's a very, very different, that's how Tosfot learned. So the person who smashes it with a hammer has to pay.
But,
Okay.
but at the moment he lets the stone go,
Yeah.
the damage is in process.
Yeah, he's not.
Or
Yes,
not
yes,
yet, because he could do this.
But anyway,
He could do this.
And what if a bird comes and grabs
Or
the
have
stone
somebody
and-
run with a pillow to catch the phone. It's possible. You're right.
So it is the same.
I can't say that I agree with you. I could say that there are those who agree with you. There are those who agree with you, but Tosfot says there is a difference. And the difference is in the causality of the damage. If the damage done indirectly, by dropping a rock, it's an indirect damage, because all he's doing is, he is activating a force to the rock, and the rock is going to, whereas before, it's direct damage. He took it and he threw it. That's the difference.
So if the stone is like he just lets it fall, it is not the same as he drops it by like force.
Well, usually,
because this is already not.
but usually stones don't float in the air, right? He picked it up, right? And he's
But
letting it go.
this is the indirect causation that you just leave it,
Fine.
and direct means like it's
I don't
similar
think
to.
so. No, the direct is that you are causing the damage to the object yourself with the object, like smashing it.
Or by
That's
helping
not-
it to fall.
I don't think so. You see, look at Tosfot inside. I'll show you. You can see the
Okay,
difference.
so the difference is the tool.
The difference
stone
is
and-
whether it's not the tool. It's that the damage is occurring to the object through your hand, which is the object is in my hand and I'm throwing it. Or as opposed to that the object is sitting on the floor perfectly calm and fine, looking at me, smiling. And then I take the stone and I drop it.
but
There's a difference, Tosfot recognizes a difference between the two actions. Not everybody agrees with that difference. So I understand why you're hesitant to agree.
So if I have a bowl full of water and I just drop the phone,
That's
that's one case.
correct.
And there is the phone and I have a jug of water and
Correct, there would be a
the
difference,
is
correct,
different.
correct,
Uh-huh.
correct.
but in the first case, the phone could fall on the grass, for example.
It could.
It happened nothing. So it's,
I don't know.
It's not that easy.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yes.
Can we try? We'll do,
It's not here. I forget where it is.
we'll do best out of 10. You know what I'm saying? That's good. Okay, now, what was the fourth case?
Eat
a pork.
Fishing.
Fishing on Shabbat. Okay, so he went fishing. He has intention to break Shabbat. He throws the net in the water, pulls out a baby with fish. Did he break Shabbat?
Fish.
I think this is make work, and the work is not good job.
Okay, so he broke it.
If,
Okay.
if a man saved the baby life, that's basically a mitzvah, even in
Absolutely.
Shabbos, like when, for example, if you have a health problem during Yom Kippur and you have to eat, then you break the law,
Right.
but you also make a mitzvah because of saving your life. So,
Excellent. So you say he did not break Shabbat.
yes.
And the rabbi,
If the man saves the baby life,
He did.
that's, yeah, then
Yeah,
but
fish
he-
was also,
he also brought fish, correct.
that's the problem.
It's a problem, so he throw the fish back.
Yeah.
So, oh, fish! Wait, throw the baby back with the fish. Just the baby.
Only the baby, that's the same.
So you want to say the fact that there's fish inside is a problem. Okay.
Anybody can make a mitzvah if he don't want to do that. Only it's happened.
So see, what's your name?
Meir Yaakov.
Meir Yaakov is saying, what about intentionality? His intention was not to save a baby. His intention was fishing. He didn't even know there was a baby in the water. So maybe there we're going to say, because his intention was to break Shabbat, he broke Shabbat. What about the rabbi? The rabbi there, right? With a long beard, with his talis, throws the net and picks up full of fish.
Yeah, but once
No baby.
No, that if you want to save lives and
It's not happened, then
and somehow something went wrong and you didn't succeed, it doesn't mean that you were liable.
So you say that the rabbi did not break Shabbat.
If he wanted to save the baby,
He knew there was a baby in the water and he was trying to save the
they
baby.
don't break.
He did not break Shabbat. Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Good. That's the correct answer. But what is our friend? What with our friend who went fishing? Did he break Shabbat or not?
yes.
No. He did not break Shabbat.
no, he did something which is different.
He
from
did
what
not
he
break
intended.
Shabbat.
Why?
Because he was hungry.
No? Because
The
he
mitzvah
saved a human life. So we say, oh, what about his intention? His intention wasn't. So what? We saw from the other cases, do we care about the intention? So we say he did not break Shabbat.
Just because of the mitzvah he did.
Correct.
So if in the other case, that he wanted to catch fish, but instead he caught like, I don't know,
A shoe.
eel, not a shoe, no, another life, but not a fish. I don't know.
No, but let's say he pulled up a shoe.
The shoe is different because then he didn't eventually kill anyone.
Yeah, but he still did an issur.
Fishing.
You're not allowed,
net.
the act is not, the
Okay.
question is, do you have to actually fish in order to break? Or is
in that
it
case
the
that
act?
would be like rabbinically.
But rabbinically,
But-
listen,
not
for
halal.
breaking a Derabanan, it's very serious,
Okay, but it's still different.
okay? But remember, this is the religion we have.
Yes. I'm just saying. But it does.
Let's put it this way,
Patur.
I don't think, yeah, but it's still asur.
It's still
Right,
asur.
everything when we say
Okay,
asur
yeah.
avan patur, you know, when it says patur in Chod Shabbat, it means it's asur, except for 3 cases. But they're not related. Okay.
But so far we said that intention is not so important, but now Meir Yaakov said that there is a difference here, because now it's a mitzvah and mitzvah tzrichot kavanah, so we have a principle that usually...
Mitzvah tzrichot kavanah in all cases, the Shulchan Aruch panskins mitzvah tzrichot kavanah. But there are lots of other opinions that you're yotze b'diavad in the mitzvah. But saving a human life is not a question of kavanah or not kavanah. It's, in the end, what is the outcome? Did you save a human life or you did not? Right? Let's say, for example, you are in a Shabbat dinner and the guy in front of you is a really not nice guy. And he's saying terrible things and you're ready to punch him in the face. And you get up, right? And you punch him in the stomach, okay? But the second that you punched him, he was actually choking. And you punched him, you saved his life. Did you save his life? You, man, to punch him in, the really, you saved his life. Yeah.
I don't understand that in the case of the rabbi, you said that intention counts. And in the case of this guy, it doesn't count?
Correct.
Why?
So we're going to see what? We're going to see. This is the whole point of this talk of all these cases. We are looking at the interaction of 3 things. Intention, action, result. You need the 3 things to tell you what the rule is going to be. If you have, now all the cases I'm giving you, they don't agree with one another. Sometimes there is intention in the action, but the result is different. Sometimes you have the intention and the action doesn't fit with the intention, and you have a result, and the question is, what do we do? That's the whole point of this talk, is to look at how does Judaism look at the interaction of 3 things. Intention, the action, and the result. Because this is a very, very important topic into anything, any interpersonal relations that you have with people. Okay.
Sorry, just one
Yeah.
more question.
Yeah, but
So what if you?
my English is not so
So what if?
Your English is fine, by the way. Your English is fine. You can hide behind him. It's okay. He's used to it. Yes.
So what if what if from this Shabbat on, you always think, oh, but there are so many lost babies, so you go to the river.
Are there? Is that a big issue for you? Is that a big issue in Hungary that there are hundreds of babies sort of?
So can you rely on this
No,
not so
for
sure
sure.
intention
No.
just to fish?
No. No.
Can you say anything else? So not a human being, for
But an
example.
animal
An
on
animal.
Shabbat and break Shabbat? I don't think so.
No, okay.
Fish.
Unless it's a really, really important giraffe.
Yes. Okay.
So now we have our friend, the kosher eating friend that went to the house of pork. Did he break Jewish law? Ooh, did you hear that? Clear cut. He did. Did he break Jewish law?
No.
No. Did you hear that? She said no. I wouldn't let her. I would just go ahead, explain to her why she's wrong.
I would love to hear later.
Yeah, you want to get smart.
Because he was at Sadiq, he had good friends. His friends saved him from like, actually.
Did he break Jewish law?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
What did he eat kosher lamb?
But the intention was to eat pork.
But did he eat pork?
No.
No, but the intention counts.
I have an intention right now to rob a bank.
And
But
anybody
I'm going
But
to...
he did something, and he thought that he is eating pork.
That is amazing what you said. That is a principle that all of the great rabbis talk about. It is not only intention by itself, it's an intention plus an action that agrees with the intention. Then it becomes an issue. Okay. I'm gonna come back to this case, but let's talk about our woman that has a problem with wine. So she took a vow not to drink wine. Okay? Friday night, she says, and starts drinking the wine. Did she break Jewish law? You're very quiet now. Well, what do you think? Did she break Jewish law?
Sounds similar to the latter case.
Right? But you're afraid. You're like, wait a second, maybe there's some sort of a trick here. Rabbis are very sneaky.
And we didn't even answer the last one.
That's right.
So something similar must be this as well.
Yeah.
Maybe no, because pork is prohibited in each cases, but she can drink the wine if he's. So there is a possibility when his husband broke his oath.
Right.
So there is some possibility, and pork, in the case of pork, there is no possibility.
Ah, very, very interesting. Very, very good. Very good. Very good. Anybody else? This side has been very, very quiet. You're going to have to say something to save yourself. Okay. The case of the woman is actually a case in the Mishnah. And in the Mishnah it says, Rabbi Yehuda says that she gets what is called malchus. She gets lashes. She gets punished. Why does she get punished? Did she do anything wrong? The answer is, she didn't do anything wrong, but she had an intention to sin. We should not have the intention to sin. So our case of the pork, is he guilty of a sin? Did he eat non-kosher food? The answer, he didn't eat non-kosher food. But he had an intention to sin. And when you have an intention to sin with an action that agrees with the original intention, then what happened? You get punished. So then go back to the guy who went fishing on Shabbat. See, they're all connected. So what happens over there? Did he break Shabbat? No. He saved the baby. What was his intention? To sin. Did he do an action that fits with his intention? Yes. His intention was to fish. Fishing means throwing a net in the water. Did he throw the net in the water? He didn't. Did he pull it in? Because he didn't throw it in and goes, oh my God, what did I do? I'm not going to do this anymore. Hashem, I'm sorry. No, he pulled it in. But it ended up that what happened in the net was saving a baby. When he saved the baby, it canceled his act of breaking Shabbat. But his act of sinning against God was not canceled. So therefore, there's an opinion, the Or Sameach says that he gets lashes. Why? Because he had an intention to sin. He had an intention to sin, and he did an action that goes along with it. So now, once we understand this principle, let's go back to the first three cases. The guy that broke the jug, did he have intention to break the jug? No. But he has to pay for it. Why don't we say that intentionality should matter, that he shouldn't have to pay? Like, what's your name? Noemi? So her idea was that if you accidentally damage someone's property, we go according to the intention. If the intention is that you didn't beat it, and that you're honest, you don't have to pay. Right? That was your original position. So why don't we say that? Because we see that if the intention is to sin, you get punished. And here there's no intention. He didn't intentionally break it. So why should he have to pay?
This is not a punishment. This is damage.
Yeah. Well, if I have to take money out of my pocket, it's punishment. Right?
But the wrongdoing is in a completely different area.
Okay? Expand on that.
So you caused someone damage. When you break Shabbat, you don't call, maybe you got God damage, but
You cause damage to the universe much greater
Yes.
than extent
yes, but it's different. It's not a monetary
Transaction.
You don't do anything with someone else's property.
Okay.
It's between you and the only person.
Okay.
But when you do,
So
you
that's the
make damage to
chiluk.
someone-
That's the division. Very good. You made it. I know you didn't say it the way that I wanted it, but I think you have the idea correct.
It's mamonat or isuri.
No, that's not the division. The division is between mitzvot, between God and me, and mitzvot between me and fellow human beings. When it comes to ben adam lechavero, between me and my fellow human beings, we don't look at the intentions, we look at the action and the result. If there's an action and a result of damage, you have to pay. You have to pay. It doesn't matter what the intention is. With regard to our relationship with God, God is interested about our intention, not about the result. There's a principle in Judaism that if you have intention to do a mitzvah, and you were in the process of doing it, but something happens that you couldn't, you get credit as if you did the mitzvah. Full credit. Full credit. Because intentions matter to God. If you have intention to sin, and you act upon it, like we heard, you get punished. Even if there's no result for the sin, because you ate lamb. But what happens if you have intention to sin with no action? You're just sitting in your room thinking, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. It's my wife when I get, I'm kidding. You better erase that. Right? Is that a sin? You are intending to commit a sin. You're sitting in your room and thinking, I am going to sin.
Thinking equal intention? No.
What?
Thinking about something equal intention?
I think so.
But the action will not.
You're saying it's not. What's the difference between thinking about doing something and intending to do something?
Intending is nearer to the action. Because if I'm
Like
only
resolution,
thinking,
no?
I'm only thinking, it's,
it's a resolution that I'm going to do it, or I'm just having playful thoughts about it. That's
Playful
Intention.
thoughts about sin. I hope not. They're not so playful.
Intention might be followed by action, but thinking shouldn't be followed by action.
So when I say thinking, I don't mean sort of, I'm thinking, to me thinking is almost an act. It is, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna rent a car, change the license plates, I'm gonna get the gun from the criminal over there, I'm gonna get to the bank in the morning, park right in front of the doors, right? But I'm not doing anything. And then we're gonna do it at 8 a.m. in the morning after minyan. Right? Right after minyan.
And once everything is played out, you write a book.
Right? So do we have to do tshuva on our intention? Do we have to, yes, you say yes.
Sure.
If you're sitting in your room and thinking about robbing a bank, that's a sin?
First you ask, do we have to do tshuva?
Yeah.
Yeah, tshuva you have to do, that's just
That's a mitzvah regardless of doing anything. Right? That's a mitzvah according to the Rambam of the Araisa that you have to do. But I'm just asking of thinking, you're planning a sin. Like sitting and thinking, lobster. I don't know why anybody would eat such a thing. But let's say you're thinking, I'm going to eat lobster. I'm going to go to the house with lobster. I'm going to order lobster. And you're thinking about this whole thing. Right? Do you have to say to Hashem, I shouldn't. Well, if there is no action tied to the intention, we don't get punished for our intention. Only in one area of thought we get paid. We have to worry about thinking about certain things. Right? Relations between men and women. You can't think about that, even if there's no action, right? Because that's a different category that I don't want to address today. The point is that between man and man, the responsibility is we go after the result. We look at the action and the result. If the action resulted in a damage, we are responsible. If, when we're dealing with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, we are looking at the intentions and the actions, and we're not interested in the result. The result doesn't matter. Because I gave you the cases that show that the result didn't really matter. It all depended on what was the intention and what was the action that led to it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
There's one case.
What?
There's one case on the result.
I know, I left it. I always want people to want more. There's the next case is much more complicated, and we don't really have enough time to get into Joseph and his brother. But from the idea there is, I'll just mention a few ideas, is that one, they intended to harm Joseph. Did they? They did. Did they harm him? He says, you did not harm me. Your intention was to harm me, but whatever you did, the action with the intent, the result was not what you intended.
So they got the lashes in a different form.
So if from Bitzad, from God to human beings, it's one thing. But if it's Ben Adam Lechavero, they would not be guilty because they didn't cause damage. He says, you didn't cause me any damage. So that's sort of a way of understanding the last case. So in that case, you could have both. You could have, they had an intention and they did an action, so from God's perspective, they were guilty. But from Joseph's perspective, they were not guilty.
Because he exempted them.
He says there was no bad result. He says everything was, you thought to damage me, but Hashem thought it was for good. And it was very good. And for Hashem, it's not a matter of result. It's a matter of intentions plus action. So you wanted to harm him, you threw him in a pit, you sold him for slavery. The fact that that turned out to be amazing for him, you still have to.
Spending years in prison is no damage.
That's what Joseph says. That's the emunah and bitachon that Joseph had. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the last talk.
Thank you.